episode of The Follow-Up. I'm Eden, and this is my dad, Noah. And for the past 3 years, we've just been sitting in my bed and having a conversation about something we want to talk about. And this week, we're going to talk about the NBA All-Star Game. And if you have any thoughts or comments on this topic, we would love to hear from you. So you can go to Apple Podcasts and you can rate and leave a review.
Yeah, so you can, if you have thoughts on the East roster, the West roster, who you think's going to win, the format, anything like that, just go to Apple Podcasts and leave it in the reviews. We appreciate it, and we'll read the comments on the show.
Yeah.
All right, so one of the things that we like to do together is watch basketball. This year, All-Star Game is in Indianapolis in 2 weeks. We're recording this on Sunday the 4th. So, and the All-Star Game is the weekend 16, 17, 18. And they went back to East-West this year.
Yes.
Rather than the captains, so the leading vote getter in the East or the West. Let's start with that. Do you like East versus West?
I have mixed thoughts.
Okay.
I like it, but at the same time, I don't.
Why?
I like it because it's kind of like you want to see, like, is the East better than the West? Like, which division, conference? Yeah, conference is better. But I really liked captains because they always did it on TNT, and the captains would, like, draft their players. And that was I remember watching that one year. That was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And getting to, like, see people would guess who people would choose. And it was more like, for East versus West, you kind of know. You know who's going to be in the East, you know who's going to be in the West.
Right, it's entertaining to see them draft the players inside the NBA. When they went to the draft last year on site.
That was cool.
Yes, but it just took way too long. And that was the problem. It was just too long. Am I boring you?
Yeah.
It just took too long on site and then on TV because then you've got to do the draft and then you have to then get your jerseys and then take the pictures, and it was just forever. I wouldn't mind if it was on TV again and just making the picks, but East versus West is what I grew up with as well, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about so let's explain one. We'll talk about the rosters in a moment. The starters are chosen. It used to be just you go to a game when we were kids, and you had all-star ballots only at the game. It was the only place you could get them. It was in an arena. Okay, you got the ballots, and you would take a pencil or a pen and punch out the little dots and next to the player's name. Okay, and then you put the ballot in a box. Okay, and that's how you did it. So
and now you
vote
online.
Right. So now
and
the whole
you can
world
vote like every day.
Now the whole world can vote.
And some days your vote counts 3 times.
Right.
You can vote as much as you want, really.
So for the starters now, it's the fans vote, counts 50% of the total. Players vote, they get 25% of it. And the media's vote gets 25% for the starters. And then the reserves are chosen by the coaches. The players voting is nonsense because they vote for, like, George Niang got 15 votes to be an all-star.
He does not.
Right, exactly. So guys get, it's a joke. And any players who then say, the media got it wrong, this, that, look to yourselves. Look to your own group to figure this out.
Yeah.
Also, you're always going to have some injuries. Always. And in the East, Embiid, Julius Randle, going to be injured.
I wonder who's going to fill in for that.
Right. So the commissioner chooses who fills in. And it's supposed to be whoever is next on the list from the coaches voting. It's supposed to be.
But then what's the point of the commissioner choosing if it's just the next on the list? Why does the commissioner have to choose?
Well, because then you don't, but also that's the thing. You don't
know the list.
We don't know the list. Nobody knows the list. Okay,
so
let's, so go ahead. So your thoughts on, you can give your East starters and your thoughts on the East starters.
Okay, East starters are Giannis, Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, and Damian Lillard. Okay.
Now, your thoughts on the starters. Who would you... I know Embiid's hurt. Don't worry about that. When we voted a lot, who would you have had as your starters?
Honestly, mine would probably be something like this: Giannis, Embiid, Tatum, Halliburton, and for me, Lillard's been really good though. He's been really good, but Maxi's been awesome this season. Donovan Mitchell, baby.
Okay. So who would you have
Probably
picked?
Maxi.
Maxi. Okay. So there's a good argument to have Maxi there. I would have put Jalen Brunson.
Yes.
Jalen Brunson has single-handedly turned the entire Knicks franchise around. I would have put Brunson there.
The Knicks aren't a team without him.
Nothing.
He controls the team.
Yeah. So I would have put Brunson there. So the reserves: Bam, Paolo, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Maxi, Donovan Mitchell, Julius Randle. In the East, there aren't, so replacing Embiid and Randle. Now, I'm not exactly sure, and I don't think there's a rule there for, all right, do you have to replace them with a big man? Or is it a guard? So there aren't obvious choices in the East for a big man, unlike out West.
Will they have to, for Embiid, they'll have to do another center.
Well, with Embiid, what they would do is most likely move Bam into the starting lineup.
But then who's replacing him?
And then, you move him into the starting lineup, but then you have to replace an all-star. So if it's a big man, maybe it's Jared Allen, maybe. Or if they just took two players, who do you think? And we wrote down a few, so you can look at your list.
Trae Young, he's been having a decent season as an individual player this year.
Right, team stinks, but he's been putting out monster numbers.
Like we said, Jared Allen,
mm-hmm.
Derek White, maybe.
And Derek White's been putting up really good numbers on the best team in basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, and is Derek White? You look at Derek White and say, oh yeah, he's an all-star. No, but he has contributed greatly to the success of the best team in the league.
Yes.
And that has to be rewarded.
But if you don't look at him and say that's an all-star, but if someone needs filling in for, he's definitely a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the coaches for the All-Star game are chosen at the end of, so we're recording this on Sunday, and so it's at the end of today. Okay, the coaches are chosen. It is the best team with the best record in each conference at the end of today. But if you coached last year, if your team was if you coached last year, you cannot coach again this year. They give you a break. Okay? So, Boston, Joe Mazzulla, they coached last year. So he can't coach this year. Okay? So now so then it goes to the second place team in the Eastern Conference. Milwaukee. Who's the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks? Come on.
What's his name?
They just fired Adrian Griffin and hired who? The former Sixers coach.
Oh, yes. Doc Rivers.
Okay. So Doc Rivers
is going to be an all-star coach?
Is the all-star game coach. Because he's
for the East?
Yeah. And
how?
Has Doc done anything for Milwaukee?
No.
Absolutely not.
He
just got there.
I don't know if he's even coached 5 games yet.
No, he is not. And so he's the head coach of the East All-Stars. Personally, I think they should give it to Joe Prunty, who was the interim coach, and he was the lead assistant for the Bucks, and should let Joe Prunty be the head coach of the team and put Doc, let Doc take vacation, or figure out, or Doc can practice.
Joe Prunty should just be the coach in the first place, and then Doc can be the assistant coach, and then it can just be like that.
Well, that's not gonna happen. But yes, they should have. I think Joe Prunty. I think it's insane that Doc Rivers is going to be the coach of the Eastern Conference, and the NBA has made exceptions before with putting different players in because of years of service. Dwayne Wade, Dirk. I think they should make a rule here or make an exception here and pull Doc out. Okay, Western Conference starters. Just to move this along a little bit, the starters are how we would have chosen it: LeBron, KD, Jokic, Luka, and Shea. And the West is deeper than the East. There's a lot more talent in the West. So
the West isn't even arguably better. They just are.
Yeah, they are. So in the West reserves, Booker, Curry, Anthony Edwards, Paul George, Kawhi, Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns. Now that's where there's some controversy. Minnesota, so we don't know who's coaching in the West yet because we're recording this on Sunday. Minnesota and OKC are tied. So whoever finishes above today, it'll either be OKC or Minnesota. Minnesota deserves 2 players. Could Rudy Gobert have been an All-Star?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I think he deserves to be it over Towns.
Towns has been excellent offensively. I think Gobert has been more consistent overall than Towns, and Gobert is a dominant defender. But Towns an All-Star. Also, another guy could have been our guy Domantas Sabonis, and I'm surprised that the Kings, who are 10 games over 500, 29-19, I think, Domantas Sabonis, that they don't have any All-Stars.
Yeah, they're 29-19.
Yeah, and look at Sabonis' numbers.
Yeah.
What do we have here?
20, 13, and 8.
Yeah.
20 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists.
8 assists a game, shooting 62% from the floor.
Those are excellent numbers. That is all-star worthy numbers.
Yeah, and so
even though Embiid has 35 points a night, 20 is good enough.
Yeah, 20, 13, and 8 on a team that's 10 games over 500 is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Now, and another controversy in the West. The Lakers are 500.
Yes.
Do they deserve 2 All-Stars? No. Okay. LeBron is an All-Star.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Anthony Davis has been as consistent as he's ever been this year. But, does that team with 2 All-Stars at 500, you could say, well, they're underachieving, do they deserve 2 All-Stars?
No.
I would agree with you.
I think someone that
I'd put Sabonis on.
I would put Sabonis on. I would maybe put De'Aaron Fox on.
Yeah, but if you're going to have
if you're going to have somebody on instead of him, you're going to put Domantas Sabonis on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
And the other guys, so De'Aaron Fox, it's wild that Jamal Murray is still have never been an All-Star. But
he was out in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but Jamal Murray is also a... Jamal Murray has been great in the playoffs.
Yes.
But this is not a playoff
award type of guy.
Yeah, and he's been really good, but better than Booker, Curry.
No.
Nope. Not better than Booker, not better than Curry, not better than Luka, Shea. Yeah, it's the way it is.
Yeah,
Sengun's been great. Larry Markkanen's been great.
There are all these players we think should deserve to be All-Stars, but then they're just these players. Yes, do a bunch of them deserve to be All-Stars? Definitely. But are there players that deserve to be even more because they've had better seasons? Yes. Yeah,
so what I did was I look at some guys who are in the Hall of Fame. I looked at Reggie Miller, because Reggie Miller is seen as, one of the greatest players ever, one of the greatest shooters ever. Reggie made 1 All-NBA team, All-NBA third team. Made 5 All-Star teams. Yeah, 5. It's good. Were there other years when you thought probably Reggie Miller probably an All-Star? No. Reggie Miller is an All-Star 5 times. It's hard to be an All-Star. Tim Hardaway, Hall of Famer, All-Star 5 times. Jermaine O'Neal. Is Jermaine O'Neal Hall of Famer? I don't think so. All-Star 6 times. So it depends on the era that you're playing in and the conference that you're playing in. They are just simply loaded at certain positions.
Definitely. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I know you've been to some All-Star games.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of them, actually.
Yep, 10.
And I know with All-Star games, some people think of them as just a waste. Some people love them.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
I loved them as a kid. Loved them. Loved watching All-Star games as a kid. I loved seeing the introductions. They weren't as robust as they are now with all the flashing lights and everything else. And I loved rooting for the Sixers guys, and I think I loved rooting for Barkley in the All-Star game, and I loved rooting for Iverson in the All-Star game. But it's different now because even when we were kids, they still competed a bit. Now they don't really compete until you just hope that it's a close game in the fourth quarter. When there's just no defense and it's basically like a dunk contest back and forth, just what are we doing here? So the hope is that these guys just look. No one wants to get hurt, but just play some defense and play like you're playing in practice or playing a pickup game. So play some defense. That's what I would hope for. But what I think is cool about the All-Star game is seeing all the guys. Well, actually, when being there is seeing all the guys together, interacting when they're walking through a hotel and doing different media stops, and who stops to talk to who. And I'll always remember that when there were, I remember walking by Bill Russell once, and a bunch of players like stopped and said hello quickly and paid their respects to Bill Russell. And then Iverson walks by, and this is when he is retired. The players line up to spend time with Allen Iverson because he was who they all looked up to because Iverson always did it his way. It wasn't always the most appropriate way, but he always did it his way. And a lot of these guys feel like he paved the way for them. They have all the respect in the world for Bill Russell. They've seen Bill Russell courtside, shake hands, spend time together. Iverson was God to a lot of these guys, Iverson and Kobe.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I mean, LeBron's been awesome for 20 years. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. And LeBron's played against now, I think the number was 10 or 11 sets of fathers and sons in the NBA. So, like, he played against Jaren Jackson Jr. and played against his father. Played against Kenyon Martin Jr. and he played against, not Kenyon Martin Jr., KJ Martin, and Kenyon's his father. Played against. It's
crazy.
It's so nuts.
He's seen multiple generations of people in the NBA, and he's just like, I'm just still playing.
Yeah, and he's still playing. Cool. He's still an all-star.
I'm just dribbling that basketball. No problem.
Yeah. What do you like about All-Star and All-Star weekend in general?
All-Star weekend. The All-Star game, like you said, if there's no defense, it's a waste of my time, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
If there's nothing exciting to see, then why do I need to see it?
Yeah.
But it's really cool to see all those, like, stars of the NBA all play against each other at once. And sometimes, they just do, like, things for fun in the game and just, like, seeing what they can pull off sometimes. But I love the dunk contest, all those contests, the three-point contests. I like the crazy dunks.
Mm-hmm.
Those are fun.
Yeah, they are fun. Yeah, they're creative and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those guys are competing.
Yeah.
They're competing for something. Yeah, they want to win. I owe you. I need to show you the Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon. Now that I just remembered this. I told you a few weeks ago I was going to show you that the Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon dunk contests. So let's do that later today.
Oh.
Okay. All right. I love you.
Love you.